All right, Miles, let's move on to Houston for a little bit. This is a Texans football team that has quietly had one heck of an offseason, right? They nailed it in the coaching department. D'Amico Ryan seems like the perfect fit for this team. They've done a great job so far through free agency, making a lot of really smart moves to build up this roster. But as we get closer to the draft, of course, a lot of Texans fans, there's got to be a little bit of nervous energy. The Texans are in a crucial position. They have to get their pick right here in the draft. Always a concern that some teams, maybe you get it the wrong way. You pick the wrong player. Your franchise heads in a really bad direction. But we've got good news for Houston Texans fans. There's a report out of Houston that shows they are doing everything the smart way and they won't screw up their draft pick here.
Yeah, Nick, and D'Amico Ryan's in that crew. I think they have everything going right, and we have a great story today about how they're not going to blow the pick. But I think what's important is we want to hear today from the fans. How do you think the Texans should use that first pick in the draft? It's a very crucial move, so be careful before you answer. But let us know in the comments below who you would pick with the Texans' first pick in the draft. But Nick, before we get into all that, I have a word for the viewers. Stay tuned to the end of today's video and hear a special offer from the partner of today's video, Neuro. But Nick, enough about that. Let's hear what the Texans have going on.
Yeah, so as any fan of the San Diego Chargers will tell you, now Los Angeles Chargers, it is really important to get quarterback right in the draft. Of course, and go back to the 1998 NFL draft, the Indianapolis Colts chose Peyton Manning, worked out great for them. The Chargers, picked Ryan Leaf, worked out terribly for them. You go back to the Raiders about a decade and a half ago. They decided to go Jamarcus Russell. Did not work out well for them at all. It is absolutely pivotal to be smart and pick the right guy in the draft. But the latest out of Houston shows that D'Amico Ryans is doing everything the right way. So this is according to James Palmer, a tweet he put up here. What does #Texans head coach D'Amico Ryans value most in a quarterback? Well, it doesn't matter where you're drafted. You need these three traits. 1, leadership. 2, the quote it factor. Number 3, experience. Bryce Young and CJ Stroud both have all three. All right, Miles, to me, this is just the best news Houston Texans fans could have gotten, because right now we're hearing a lot of reports about how great Anthony Richardson looks in shorts. His pro day is awesome. Will Levis, quarterback out of Kentucky, looks absolutely jacked. There's even some other names potentially moving up draft boards. And anytime that happens, you could have a team like maybe Houston in that situation. Maybe they get tempted to go the wrong way. They go with the athletic specimen instead of the sure thing. I think Bryce Young is going to be their guy, but if CJ Stroud falls to them, I think he's a great pickup as well. The fact that D'Amico Ryans has come out and said, it's not about the athletic tools. It's about leadership. It's about the it factor. It's about experience. And again, that's Stroud and Bryce Young. That's both of their realm of expertise, right? Richardson's the phenomenal athlete. Will Levis is the cannon arm. When it comes to productivity and experience at big-time college football, that's CJ Stroud, that's Bryce Young. And one of those two guys, according to D'Amico Ryans, will be the next Houston Texans franchise quarterback. I think this is the best news Houston fans could get before the draft, Miles. What are your thoughts on everything with the Texans and specifically their draft options here?
Yeah, Nick, I think they're doing the right thing when they look heavily into guys like Stroud or Young, because like you said, you can get caught up with all the hubbub, but you got to look at the field, what they're doing on the field. That is probably the most important thing. I think before last draft, when we were doing our analysis of teams and stuff like that, one thing we would always say is what you do on the field matters almost as much, if not more, than how you test physically. Obviously, Levis, Richardson, they look really strong. They look really fast, really athletic, but they don't have, both of them had what I would say is down years. They don't have quite the play that a guy like Stroud and Young have had against elite competition. Both Stroud and Young both look really, really, really strong. And you look at everything you see like clips of, Anthony Richardson threw the ball and it hit the roof at Florida's Pro Day. People are like, oh, wow, look at the arm strength. Well, maybe you should think about, wow, maybe he's not using his spatial awareness to realize the roof was there and he's hitting it, okay? I think you get caught up in too much dumb stuff, like if somebody can hit the roof with a football or not. I think what you need to do is focus on how these guys play, because they all can throw a football probably pretty well, I would wager to guess, if they're being considered as a first-round pick. Now you got to go look at their play on the field and how they've done the past couple of years. And Stroud, Young have been phenomenal on the field, and I think that is what people need to focus on, Nick. So I'm glad the Houston Texans have not gotten caught up. I've seen the change in the organization the last year or so. They have made leaps and bounds, decision-making ability from where they were just a couple of years ago, and I didn't think they would make this mistake of going after guys just because of big flashy arm talent or something like that. and I'm glad they have not.
Yeah, Miles, and I think it's one of those things. I'm going to go back to the original hiring of D'Amico Ryans as the head coach. This is why you bring in a guy who knows football, who obviously played football at the highest level, was a great linebacker in his time in the NFL as a head coach. And I think Ryans' success and decision making in Houston will drive a lot more of this in the NFL. Because when you've got a guy who knows what it's like to play against good quality quarterbacks, who can make smart decisions and manage the games and be accurate, have leadership traits, experience, the it factor, all that kind of stuff, that's terrible for a defense. That's terrifying. There's a reason defenses are terrified of Aaron Rodgers and terrified or were terrified of Tom Brady, right? Just because they have the total control of the game. D'Amico Ryans understands how important that is. It's sort of the guys in the media, the guys on Twitter or whatever that fall in love with an Anthony Richardson because they see a 5-second highlight of him throwing the ball 100 million yards. But that's not what really wins you football games in the NFL, as Brady, as Rodgers, as the all-time greats point you to. It's about being smart. It's about being the CEO, the leader of the team. It's about accuracy. It's in decision-making. D'Amico Ryans obviously understands this because he played against a lot of these guys. He's a defensive background guy, came from San Francisco, obviously defensive coordinator. He understands that mindset. So again, obviously this is a good indication by the Houston Texans that they're not falling in love with any of these flashy arm talent quarterbacks like Levis and Richardson. But I think you can give a lot of credit because this goes really all the way back to the hiring of D'Amico Ryans. If they hire a different guy, maybe they fall in love with Richardson. Maybe that different head coach does, and they go down a bad path. So again, this is a good indication that all things are moving forward and a lot of momentum is building with a lot of smart decisions by the Houston Texans franchise. All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner in today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big-time game-winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.